Dirt roads to rock crawling, two-buck chuck to screaming eagle, moonshine to 50-year-old single malt. We talk about it all here on Wheelin' Wine and Whiskey with your hosts, Jason and Chris.
Welcome to Wheeling Wine and Whiskey, episode 92.
Holy shit, 92?
Chris, co-host, how the heck are you?
I'm freaking awesome. We're talking about KOH still.
It's still going on. Maybe we'll just do the whole year KOH.
Let's just keep talking about it.
Let's do it.
I mean, because there's a long schedule.
It does not
apparently.
suck.
No, it does not.
It happened in a pandemic in California, which is going to go in the history books.
That's
Your
right.
children's children are going to be reading about KOH 2021 that happened during the pandemic.
And listening to Wheeling Wine and Whiskey coverage.
KOH 2020.
I'm not sure how that'll happen.
You're
'cause
right.
We'll be dead. But
KOH 2020 was the last big event in California prior to the pandemic.
Right?
KOH 2021 was the first big event during the pandemic.
That's correct.
Because it's still going on,
It's still going on.
unfortunately. But anyways,
you know, the good news is
It happened.
the vaccine. It happened, and the vaccine's rolling out, and things are getting better, and hopefully things are going to continue to open up.
there's no way COVID could live out in that desert. There's no way.
No,
Just
no,
can't.
No, not with the
Can't.
No, the
Scientifically,
wind's
it's not
blowing
possible.
too fast, and the sand scrubs it, and
Oh,
there's
yeah.
no chance.
Laser Town, they get shot down with lasers.
That's
It's
right.
just
And flame. Did you see that
flames.
fire?
There was flames. There was lots of flames.
There apparently I wasn't there yet.
How many
anymore.
spudge pots were on the lake bed too? There was some incredible.
A million. So, but
We digress.
we digress. What happens at KOH stays at KOH.
Yes, but the interviews we share with our listeners, and we once again circle back live because we interviewed this individual before over the phone,
That's right.
talking about beavers in a shop,
Dirty beavers, stinky beavers.
stinky beavers. And so I reached out. I was trying to get him on the podcast when I was at Trail Hero
Right.
because he was there with the Sleepster, which is a Jeepster.
Oh, really?
It's got
Is that his
bunch
rig?
of power and This is one of his personal rigs. Anyways, none other than Levi Shirley. We got to go to his pit.
Oh, what a great pit, too.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was after hours at the Levi's pit. Well, not too late, but it was later where they had all their tents closed up. It was dark. You know,
right.
the general public wasn't just rolling into the.
Well, to preface that, I mean, when we were earlier in the day, we had finished up talking to Ultra 4 Jones, and we were wandering around. We wanted to kind of hook up with Levi to reconfirm.
And Miranda, yeah.
So we were walking around pit row, and we walked, and you were on the phone, and I'm like, they had the tents all open. It was daylight.
Oh yeah.
And I would just like walk right in, and hey, is
pop
Levi
right-
around?
yeah.
And Jason's like, I gotta go. Chris is like out of control.
Well, no, it's good. You got super producer here was not to be found, so you just rolled right in and made it happen.
And Levi's like, yeah, I'm right here. It's like, oh, hey, Wheeling Wine and Whiskey. It's like, yeah, it's Chris, and with Wheeling. It's like, right on, man. So we kind of reconfirmed getting together that night. And it was making it happen.
Absolutely. So we got in there. They were still, so they just run, this was qualifying night for the Everyman Challenge.
Right, EMC, correct.
And so, Levi was part of the power hour of that with Layla. And
4,800 car.
Yeah, and that car was all jacked up with no shocks because they had some shock issue
And a little bit of flame.
I guess so. Not good.
I watched some of the replay. I was like, "Ooh, boy!" Because when all the oil shot out from when the seals blew
and then
on
it
the
hits
shocks,
all the hot engine parts,
Exactly.
exhaust and stuff. But the car was cleaned up really well, and like one of his pit crews like, "Oh no, we still have cleaning to do," and I'm like, "Holy!" Anyways, you've got the side by side, and then Layla, the 4,800 car, and then of course Loretta, the 4,400 car, all in this pit.
Beautiful cars.
I mean, the whole thing, and this is just these professional teams,
High class.
It's cool. The stacker trailers and the whole thing, and just to get to go into those pits and just look around, the eye candy is on freaking full tilt.
Oh, I know.
It's so cool. And again, here we are. We just roll in. We got this podcast. Hey, we want to interview you, but I mean, they welcomed us in like we had known them for a long time, and they were eating dinner when you walked in.
I popped,
and
my
they're
head
like, "Come on in and have some chow." And
you'll hear in the podcast this badass tent, and Levi gives a shout out to the tent manufacturer. This tent's legit.
It's a military tent. It's all sealed, the floors and the walls. It's got a heater duct up top,
and power cords.
Oh
and
my
the whole
gosh,
shebang,
it was
man.
insane.
So
it's totally perfect for KOH.
Hell yeah, we need to look into one of those. I'm sure it's not cheap, but with maybe someday.
Be nice, made for a nice mess hall / chill area / There was somebody sleeping in the corner. They had a bed set up in the corner.
Radio guy, their comms guy.
Oh, the comms guy, yeah.
I think
that's great.
Might have been Tyler. No, Tyler wasn't
Could have
been. Anyway, super cool. It was a very cool interview. It was very nice. They were super welcoming. I popped my head into that tent when they were all eating dinner, the whole crew. And I'm like, yeah, come on in. It's like, no, I don't want to disturb you guys. Just letting you know we're here, and we'll hang out outside. And no, come on in. It's like,
they had a smush pot going outside. I was chilling by the smush pot.
They did. Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, that wrapped up, and then Miranda, Levi's wife came out and said, "Hey guys, we wandered into the workshop tent, and we're standing by the cars."
Yeah, they still had some business to take care of.
They did, and they got right to it, but we were kind of in the way a little bit, I think.
We stood off to the side, but then it was cool, because I love just studying race cars, and especially Ultra 4 cars, and how stuff works and put together, and all the different components that they use. And so I was looking at Layla, and with no shock, so you're able to see a little bit more action there, and all the droop that it had.
Oh yeah, it was jacked up, and I'm like, man, that car's tall.
Yeah, and then they were wrenching on Loretta as well because they wanted to go out and do some testing. So then Levi hops in Loretta and to go do the short course real quick or something to test something.
Fires that beastie
and
up.
He fires it up, and oh my god, that's just it's just music to my ears. And he goes out of the tent. They shut the tent back down, and then there's his dad just standing right there.
Right.
And so I had to introduce myself, chatting with him, and again, great down to earth people. And I knew he flies. He's flown his plane into Lasertown and stuff. And so I had to talk to him about flying, and just, it's on my bucket list someday to maybe get a pilot's license. I don't know. I'm getting old now, but
so you conquered land and sea, and now you need to conquer air.
So I go, talking to him about flying. So it was so cool to talk to his dad and the pit crew, and just see that whole inner workings. And then,
where was Chris?
I don't know. Where were you?
I was setting up the microphones in the recording
good
studio.
job, Chris. There you go. The brains of the operation.
Producer Lorenzo was still MIA.
He was MIA. MIA again.
Dude, we need to stop bringing him to KOH.
We really do.
Bullshit.
We really do. We gotta, yeah. Anyways, so I go in there, and then so Levi came back. The short course was closed, and so he says, "All right, let's go sit down in the big mess hall tent."
Yep.
And we did, and this is what happened. Just again, we're unscripted. We don't have any, questions or anything we throw out to the drivers beforehand, because I love the candidness. I love the rabbit trails that we go down.
Absolutely.
Squirrel hunts, whatever you want to call them, bird walks.
Beaver hunt?
Beaver hunt, yes.
Oh, wait a minute.
And there we go. So with that, Chris, let's just roll right into the interview. We need a break.
Roll it.
All right, Chris, do you know where we are right now?
Oh yeah, I absolutely do know where we are. We're in Hammertown
tent right now in Hammertown with Levi and Miranda Shirley in their pit.
Car number 81.
81, Layla, and Loretta.
Okay, I thought I didn't want you to miss that one.
No, come on now. And then you've got a side-by-side new this year. Do you have a name for that one?
No. So traditionally, all of my cars from about 2010 on have all started with an L.
Right.
So, if any of our Instagram Live viewers might have a name, it's got to start with an L, and it's got to be a female name. I know this is 2021, but we've got to keep a female name. It's I feel weird calling my car Greg. You know?
No, that's right. I agree. I don't name my vehicles, but I get it.
Yeah.
That's good. So here we are on the lake bed. This is Tuesday evening right now, and you are racing the 4,800. So you're racing 3 days in a row. Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Right.
And you've been out here for a week and a half plus?
Yeah, so we finally got on the lake bed Monday morning, so it'd be 8 days now.
Okay.
We've been on the lake bed, and it's been a long 8 days.
Yeah. You guys have had your challenges, but so far, I mean, our weather's been incredible. We've been very fortunate on the weather, so that's a good thing.
They were here for the snow, though, weren't you?
Yeah, I was late to the party on the snow deal.
Okay.
There was still snow on the ground, but it was windy the first couple days and pretty dang cold. Like the day we decided to do shock tuning, it was 47 degrees for a high, 30-mile-an-hour winds, and just terrible.
We missed that, Chris.
Yeah, thank God. Whew. I mean, when we've been here since Friday, and it was the first couple of nights. It was like 25 degrees when I woke up in the morning, so I was a little chilly. We're in campers,
but then we're like mid 60s during the day.
Yeah,
it's been great.
The daytime temps have been incredible. We've had certainly no wind and whatnot. So awesome. So how otherwise it's been good.
Talk about your race program. Last time we talked to you, I mean, obviously a lot has changed, and you've been doing a lot of upgrades and everything. So walk us through getting ready for KOH 2021, and also I'm going to throw another caveat in there. It's like not knowing that KOH 2021 was going to happen up until like 3 months ago. I mean, and you guys are out in Kansas, so kind of walk us through your process here preparing for this race.
Yeah, so pretty much the week after getting home from Nationals in Oklahoma, we started prepping for King of the Hammers. We had to do some video shoots for Yokohama and unveiling of the new Gymkhana video with Travis Pastrana.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to get into that. Should we segue now?
No. Let him do.
Okay.
Yeah. So it all started then. We had to do that about a week of filming for that. We kind of went overboard on that whole filming deal. Yokohama wanted pretty much iPhone videos for that kind of stuff, but
Really?
the Gymkhana thing is always something I've wanted to do. So, anyways, we'll circle back around to that. And we really overdid it. But once that was done, we immediately stripped the cars down and sent off all the parts and played the waiting game with COVID on, I can't get this, I can't get that. With King of the Hammers it's such a big undertaking, and you can't act like it's not going to happen.
Right.
So we had our heads buried in the shop for 3 months, day in, day out, and a lot. I mean, like literally, I don't think I've ever worked as hard as I have this year to get ready.
Really?
I mean, we've worked really hard in the past, but it just seems whatever reason this year,
More focused. Yeah.
more goal driven. Know what we have to get done on a schedule. So started getting parts back. Middle part of December, and broke away to the Legends car. And focus on that, because that one had a lot of work to be done. We raced that car for King of the Hammers, and that's about it. And so it comes from King of the Hammers, then it gets parked in the corner and forgot about. And, and then once we get through Nationals, because it's such a big undertaking.
Sure.
Doing a 4,400 car. I mean, it is.
Oh, sure.
It is, and I'm a one-man band with a lot of help. I don't pay anybody or whatever to help. It's all volunteer. So with some good friends and good help, we finally got both cars cranked out about January, the day before we left. Actually, we were still working on them. But it's not just that. People look at the King of the Hammers as a general going, like, oh, you just show up and you bring your race cars. It's like, no, we got motorhomes that we got to prep.
God,
crew, we got food, we got
a generator that you kept working on.
Yeah, a generator that turned into a nightmare. And I try to do as much as I can, like from my trailer prep, everything like that in-house, so it obviously I can save a little bit more money and put it towards the towards the race car.
Sure.
But we have to give you an idea what everything we bring out, everything has to be ready. We have the motorhome, we got the trailer, we have the awning, we have the military tent that we're in now.
Yeah, the barracks here.
This thing's awesome.
Yeah,
I mean, this is
if you guys want to kind of look at the listeners look at what we're actually sitting in, Google Utilis Army tent.
Okay,
Utilis
and that'll give you an idea of what we're sitting in. The floors, the walls, everything's one piece. So
it's incredible.
It has ducting, it has electrical. Kind of a long story how we acquired this, but it has been here for 6 or 7 years now.
Perfect
and
for KOH.
Oh, it's the only time it gets set up.
Well, but this is essential because this is like the core of your operation. You
Yeah.
probably have your meals in here. You probably have team meetings in here. And then it looks like somebody's crashing out in the corner.
Yeah, we even have our radio guy.
He's got his little cot over there, air bed.
Exactly.
But I mean, considering that was when we opened the show up, the variability of the weather out here, this is essential.
It is absolutely essential. When you're out here for 2 full weeks, 14 days, 15 days, you kind of need to spread out. The camper can get a little bit of can feel pretty small, pretty claustrophobic.
Sure.
So, and to have a kind of a gathering point, and then on top of that, like we love people stopping by, but it's kind of more or less like, okay, the race car guys got to be race car guys.
I was going to say, you have your camper as your sanctuary where you can just go with your family and chill and close the door, lock it, and this is I got my time right now, my family time and my time.
Right.
So I get it. And this is the hub for everybody, the action, the food, all that good stuff, the team meetings, whatever. But yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. No, it's the only way to do it. It's the only way to do it. It's, we literally, the whole saying, like everything but the kitchen sink, we bring everything but the kitchen sink.
Yeah.
I even have a full-size refrigerator out of my shop in the nose of my race car trailer in there. So we don't got to screw with ice.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah. No. And ice was necessary today because this was one of the hottest days I've ever seen on the lake bed in my 9 years out here.
Hot with no wind, which is great. So.
Which is a rare thing. But knock on wood, it's going to be this way the rest of the trip.
Please. I hope so. It's been good so far. So let's talk about this Gymkhana thing. How did this all come about? You got a phone call from somebody and said, "Hey, are you interested in doing this thing?" And that video was killer. That was awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we got a phone call from Gymkhana, from Yokohama about Gymkhana.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
Basically, Yokohama was asking all of us athletes to basically contribute something and promote this new Gymkhana. I'll screw up the 10, Gymkhana 11. I don't know. One of the Gymkhanas, but it was the Gymkhana with Travis Pastrana.
Okay.
To promote his Gymkhana stuff. So we went to work. It was supposed to be this super simple iPhone video. Nothing, pretty low quality. They were going to put kind of a grungy filter on it, and is what it is. Like, I literally could have been driving my pickup down the road and done something, but I'm a guy that likes to under promise and over deliver. I'm kind of that guy. Right. So I called my film guy, Corey Nasso, out of Pitkin, Colorado, and said, "Hey, after Nationals, the car is going to be kind of in rough shape anyways, and we don't got to worry about a prep, because that's always the concern. You never want to go do that stuff with the race car, because every time that car pulls out of the shop, it's $10,000, period, between rear ends and transmissions and just prep, because to compete at the level we're competing at, your cars have to be at the tip-top shape.
Sure.
So for that car to do that, it already had the new worn off of it from Nationals. So called him and said, "Hey, dude, I got some ideas." And so we started bouncing around some ideas of like, "Hey, what can we do?" Like, we can't really do a milk run because, Lauren Healy already did that.
Yeah,
like,
that
we can't.
Cool.
We don't really want... Oh, yeah, that was a really cool video.
It was.
So let's go get tacos. And so I bounced some ideas off of the people at Yokohama, and they said, well, the Matlocks, they're going to do all their filming down in Mexico, and they're going to kind of have a taco theme. So could you do something else? I'm like, well, crap, it's October in Kansas, November at this point, maybe. Like, what can we do? Like, do you guys want us to like work cattle or something with the race car? Like, I can't really do that. And so I was like, what about like golfing? Like, I love golfing. I grew up golfing,
sure.
and so I'm like, what about like we can act like Loretta's a golf cart. And so the kind of the whole idea and the creation was born after that. And so we threw together a quick little edit and sent it to them, and they just pretty much straight away used that. And it just turned out really cool. Anytime you go do donuts in your race car, it's gonna be fun. Gonna be a pretty good video because the exhaust on Loretta and the tire smoke and all that stuff, it combined, it's pretty cool. So we actually have a longer director's cut coming out that's supposed to be, probably a 3-minute video, if I were to guess, because we have like hours and hours of footage from this. We like literally did a whole week of filming on this stuff and got some pretty cool Southwest Kansas stuff. So we're gonna do that, but we just kind of my media guy is also my UTV guy, and so we're just kind of shorthanded. So it's gonna have to wait till after King of the Hammers to get that edit done.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, it was hilarious because I DM'd you because I'm like, how tempted were you to take your car through the sand traps, And then you had the swing a club. I'm like, was that a stunt double? And you're like, no, that's me. I play golf, and you had a pretty good swing, so you're a pretty good golfer. That's good. And Chris and I come from the golf business, so I was like, okay, right on.
Yeah.
So I had my helmet on. First one, I did just a regular swing with my fire suit, and I had golf shoes on. I don't know what brand or whatever. It was just some guys that work there. I was like, how funny would it be if I put my helmet on? They're like, you'll never be able to hit the ball. Like, no way. And so I put it on. First swing, we were probably, I don't even know how many yards out. I mean, it was like a par 4, and I was probably about halfway. So,
oh, nice.
And right at the pin. I mean, just with the helmet on, first swing, right at the pin. Made it on the green. It was just the most beautiful shot I've ever had in the history of playing golf.
With the helmet on.
With the helmet on. Yep.
So now you play with the helmet on all the time.
Now, yeah, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, but I think I have to use Loretta as a golf cart as well.
It's not unfortunate.
Yeah.
Just follow the 90-degree rule, and we're good.
Exactly.
Yeah, there you go. Stay 50 yards away from the green.
Well, and the whole golf deal came about as well. My brother-in-law is a superintendent at a golf course.
Oh, okay. There you go.
He's not a golf pro, but he's the main guy. He went to school for it, college, Kansas State University.
Oh,
yeah.
Sure.
And I thought there was for sure I was going to get to do donuts on a piece of course or something, or a sand trap that they were just like, hey, we're going to be resodding that later or whatever, but it didn't happen.
No,
So-
That looked like a nice golf course.
Yeah.
So, we're pretty protective of our grass.
Yeah, so that was actually filmed at Buffalo Dunes Golf Course in Garden City, Kansas, which is about 45 minutes to an hour from me.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Okay.
It's in the sand hills and just
Yeah, that looked like a nice golf course.
It really is.
Yeah,
it really is.
yeah.
For November in Kansas, it's kind of what we have to deal with.
Yeah,
That's awesome. All right, so that all came about. I mean, that was a killer edit, and more to come apparently on that.
Yeah,
we got a
that'll be
longer
fun to
edit
see.
coming.
Yep.
So back to KOH. I mean, here we are, the event that probably shouldn't happen, but it's happening here in 2021, California. I love it. We're so freaking excited, and I know as race teams, you guys have so much time and money invested in this thing. I mean, it was going to be so tragic if it didn't happen. And here you are on the lake bed. How's things going? How you feeling? Where you at this point, prepping for the race?
Yeah, so, like I said earlier, you have to act like this event's happening no matter what, because you don't want to be caught with your pants down. I think there was quite a few racers that essentially were, and they showed up late, because they were like, it ain't happening. And I just, like I said, we kept our heads down, and just, you got to act like it's going to happen no matter what.
Right.
And, I think it's a pretty safe event out here overall. King of the Hammers is doing an awesome job between COVID testing, Everybody's respecting their distance, just like us. We're sitting 6 feet apart in here right now. They're just, people wear masks. It's just a really good thing. And on top of that, like I've said to a couple people I've seen, like seeing this event and seeing life kind of go on, post pandemic or even during.
Right.
Yeah, we need to see that.
Yeah, it's such a good thing. Like, you look how many people are out here. It is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, but it is so good for people's mental health. Like,
my God.
you look at that and just people, like, you can kind of tell it's just a breath of fresh air of just like breaking up from the whole everything and
Getting out of the house
and doing that. So to see people out here doing that, like, I know I'm not the only one. It's great for my mental health as well.
Oh,
like,
for sure.
To be able to do that, like, it's been a long couple months, and so to be back with a little bit of normalization.
I'll give you a great analogy. I mean, I got my 80-year-old neighbor, he's 79, about to be 80, and he we have dinner once a week, my mom and I, with their husband and wife there, Jack and Kay, and he goes, "What's this KOH you're going to?" And he knows I've been heavy into off-road, and I said, "Just look it up on YouTube, type in KOH." And he did, and a week later, we come back for dinner that night, he goes, "I want in. How do I get into this thing?" Right? And so he drives his $300,000 motorhome out here to the desert following me, and he has had an absolute ball. And you talk about that mental health. I mean, I don't care what age group you're in, just to get some sort of normalcy back into our lives and be out here in the desert with like-minded people has been unbelievable.
It's been great.
Unbelievable.
Absolutely. And just like that guy, he's 80 years old. He's lived a awesome life. He knows the risk of coming out here.
Oh yeah,
we're all big boys. We're all adults.
Yep.
So I'm happy to see guys like that.
Yeah.
Enjoying it. Like, that's what it's got to be about.
This is a bucket list item for me. I got to make this happen. I'm like, there you go, and he's out here. But yeah, it is. So,
but yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. So it is a bucket list for a lot of people, and we don't know if we're going to be here tomorrow.
No,
none of us
don't
do.
know.
Well, nothing's guaranteed.
Yeah, exactly.
Interestingly enough, when we first arrived in your pit, and we were talking when you were working on the car, everybody probably heard the news that Easter Jeep Safari has been canceled again 2 years in a row. And that's not. I think that's the last week of March, first week of April.
Yeah.
And we're here at King of the Hammers.
Already
of the
pulled
desert.
the plug.
And so this is a huge event. And Easter Jeep Safari, I know, is a huge event, but they pulled the plug.
And you're gonna see somebody and it's just a shame. Like, I love Moab. We're actually gonna be racing out there April 1st and 2nd at Area BFE.
Right.
So to not have that, it's a kick in the pants to the off-road community. So, I wouldn't be surprised, and I'm sorry if I'm offending anybody by saying this. Like, I wouldn't be surprised at all if somebody doesn't swoop in and move that event somewhere else.
No.
Yeah. Like, you can't replicate Moab, but
no,
people want to get out and people want to do things.
Yeah, but I mean, and so what's odd about it to me was that Trail Hero, same state, Utah, a few hundred miles away, whatever, went off without a hitch.
Happened in October.
Yeah, in October.
Yeah.
And then
we were both out there.
And now,
Where were you,
vaccine.
Chris?
Oh, stop.
Yeah, where was Chris?
I don't have unlimited vacation time.
Oh, okay.
Gosh, dang it. I'm sure winter times would work better for him.
Well, Anyway, but I just find it unusual that
that they pulled the plug this early.
I don't get it. I just don't get it.
I talk about St. George. Talk about probably an economy this year that has just exploded due to their willingness to kind of stay open. For not just in the off-road community, but when we were there was softball teams and tournaments and basketball tournaments, and their industry, St. George, I've always said this, if I can move anywhere in the United States, it would be St. George, Utah. It's just a little bit of everything.
Sure.
I wish it was warmer in the winter and a little cooler in the summer, but you got a little bit of everything. You can go go to the dunes, go rock crawling, go to the lake, whatever. It just has a little bit of everything.
And how cool is Sand Hollow? I mean, that area is unbelievable. you got mild to wild, and anything you want to wheel there in between. There's some serious stuff out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's like I said, that Sand Hollow area is amazing. And it was probably one of those things, you probably move there and just be like, hey, I'm kind of sick of this, but I don't know.
I don't think
I'd get sick of it, right?
Because they're cutting new trails all the time out there,
Right.
and it's just like out here. You can go wherever.
The
It's BLM
terrain's
land.
constantly changing because of the winds and whatnot. I know the rock areas are going to not really change that much, but that's Mother Nature is always changing the format.
Yeah, like, and sorry if we're getting off on a
No,
deal,
this
and I
is
know
good. We go down rabbit holes on this podcast.
We're just kind of rabbiting. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's so good to be talking to you guys face to face, by the way.
Likewise.
Versus looking at a computer screen.
Right.
But that lake that is in Sand Hollow is man-made.
Right.
Yes, it is.
And
yeah.
they said that has changed the whole area of everything. Like, I was talking to one of my old tire sponsor guys, lives there, and he said, where you guys wheel and do all your rock crawling, that all used to be dunes. He's like, there was nothing exposed, and he said, now something to do with the lake or something, it has cleared out, and now we got all these beautiful rock trails. So
Really?
Thank you, Mother Nature, and thank you, Lord, for doing that.
Exactly right, and that's the cool thing. And it's tough with some of these families finding areas to recreate. I mean, there's something for everybody at that Sand Hollow Park. You want to just chill on the campground, you can. You want to go down to the water and chill. You want to go out and do some mild four-wheeling. You want to do some hardcore four-wheeling. Town's right around the corner.
Right.
You want to go into town and hang out. I mean, it is a cool spot. And I was super happy to get out there and check that out. You should check it out sometime,
My
Chris.
goal is to be down there this year. That's my goal.
All right.
I hope it happens.
There we go. You heard it here on the podcast.
They've been hearing everything on the podcast. So
Well, it's literally. I mean, there's condos right there, and they're so OHV friendly. Like compared to their neighbors over in Colorado, they're so OHV friendly in Utah with side by sides and dirt
Right.
bikes and Jeeps and this and that, and just and on top of that, the water sports recreation and just everything there. They're so OHV friendly. Where unfortunately Moab's being overrun with people that, I mean, just a community that's not.
Right.
And they've been in it for a while, but apparently people that eat granola bars and don't you can edit this one out too.
No, don't edit it.
That's
us.
more important
exactly
than the
it.
off-road and boosting the economy there. And I'll be vocal about that, just because that's where I believe off-roading in general, for me, has been a lifesaver. Like just staying out of trouble from being a little kid. You're being in high school and having a Toyota to go beat on and just go wheel and
go
like
raising it up.
Yeah, and just like instead of going hanging out with my buddies on Friday night, it's like I'll be in the shop, I'll be in the garage. I have goals, I have ambitions like towards this, and I'm a very fortunate individual to be able to do this. And I'm not saying that. I'm just saying you've been told when you're little you can be whatever you want to be when you grow up, and I want to be an off-road racer.
So when did you start? I mean, that's a good segue here. When did you start wrenching on cars and have interest into automobiles and just wrenching in general and engines and stuff? I talked to your dad a little bit earlier, so I got a little bit of insight. But
yeah, you
grew up in it.
I grew up in it. We kind of started doing some little circle track stuff, and before any of that racing stuff started, we were wheeling. Like, a dad had a homemade 93 Wagoneer buggy he built, and it was
cool.
Looking back, super redneck, but it's where I cut my first teeth. And I remember getting kicked out of an off-road park for him letting me drive because I was too young, and the owners of the park did not like that. So, and then Cherokee, he had a 93 Cherokee as well, we'd wheel in, and just like I grew up, my sisters and I grew up wheeling in the mountains of Colorado, I mean everywhere, so that's basically where the off-road addiction started. Then I obviously grew up with dirt bikes and go-karts and started racing, and
the racing bug hit.
Getting the racing bug hit. people joke all the time like a gambling addiction would be cheaper, and I full on agree.
Yeah, but not as healthy as racing here. This is great stuff.
No, absolutely. No, I'm very happy that I get to go do this.
So, all right. So here we are, Lake Bed. So you've got UTV on Thursday. So how much pre-running have you done? What do you pre-run in? Because in this course this year, I mean, you get to see every bit, nook and cranny of this course because you are racing all three classes per se, and there's some stuff that's just isolated to 4,400, that Dave has laid out for you guys and JT, and then the UTV class, and then of course you got your 4,800 car, Layla, that you're going out in between. So what do you think of the layout this year and the courses? And a lot of people criticized Dave last year for making it too easy and people came across the line too soon. And now he goes, okay, guys, buckle up, buttercups. We're going to make it a lot harder and rock orientated this year. So,
yeah, and those people saying that about the course being too easy were the guys that were broke on lap 1. They didn't complete the course. Last year was brutal, and I highly encourage anybody that come run the course we run.
Right.
Come do it with the stuff we do. It's always been a tough race, man versus machine. I think in order to have a good flowing race, ultimately you've got to kind of eliminate some of the hard rock trails that, ultimately disrupt the flow of the race. For
sure.
Jackhammer in 2015, 16, ultimately ended a ton of people's chance at even getting at the podium. Because they were sitting at a bottleneck for 50 minutes,
sure.
Which,
unfortunate.
It's very unfortunate. And there's the hindsight to that going, well, you just got to get there sooner. You got to qualify better. You got to do this. Well, yeah, that is sometimes, as we saw today in the Legends qualifying, things don't always go to plan.
No,
it's racing. My dad always used to say there's a reason they don't hand out the trophies before the race.
That's right.
So,
true.
Just saying anything and everything can happen.
Right.
The course is absolutely brutal this year. By far the hardest I've ever seen it. Very hard to navigate. We're only working with so much land here, so it's not like the Baja 1000 where we can do a peninsula race and run A to B. So we're only got so many acres here we can work with. Most years these rock trails get burnt in, and this year they've gotten worse, and I don't know what the deal is.
Well, so we were talking about that with another driver earlier today, and speculation is that with the COVID, we kind of roll back to the pandemic, that all these people have gone out and bought Jeeps and JKs, JLs, and they go to the tire
wheeling.
store. They put 40s on it and they go wreck wheeling. So they're all out here, Johnson Valley or the Rubicon or wherever, and they don't know what they're doing, and they're just beating the crap out of their equipment, and tearing up the trails. So I don't know.
I would agree with that. Dang you, COVID.
Dang you, COVID.
One more strike against you. Well, I would full on agree with that. Because normally this time of year we have the courses. A lot of the tough stuff has rocks thrown in the holes. It's burn-in bypasses. There's burn-in places. For whatever reason, this year it's not the case. And again, it might revert back to the everybody coming out here and people winching through obstacles, but in turn winching rocks into holes that fill stuff and make stuff harder. And just changing the everything. I know here a couple years ago there was somebody that poured concrete up at Sledgehammer to make it easier or something along these lines.
What?
And the next week it was broken out.
Oh, sure.
So anyway, so these trails are constantly changing.
Sure.
For sure. Rocks are moving, everything. So how much, it's got to be a huge advantage for you, I guess, from knowing the course, running all three classes, but yet it can kind of work against you in that, physically, mentally, you're running all three classes. So, what's it like going from a UTV to Layla 4800 Legends car to a badass 4800 car?
4400.
I mean 4400 car. Sorry.
Well,
Thank you, Chris.
it's challenging, right? Luckily that we're starting off with 32-inch tires in the UTV.
Okay.
And then the next day, for the Everyman Challenge race, we have 37s on the cars.
Right.
And then on the Unlimited day, we have 39s on the car.
Okay.
So my mindset, where my head's at with this deal is like every day maybe gets a little bit easier.
okay.
And so if you can make it through in a UTV, chances are you can make it through in a 4800 car. And if you make it through in a 4800 car, you can make it through in a unlimited car. Right, exactly. So that's my mindset. Although the UTV is a little different of an animal, you can bob and weave through rock trails.
Correct. Right.
And go around the bad diff hangers and stuff. So that's it. So, but it is tough going from car to car to car. But every day it gets a little bit easier, hopefully.
Yeah. Well, I was pre-running some trails yesterday with a 4800 car driver, Ultra 4 Jones, and we did spooners and outer limits and claw hammer and all this stuff. And I'm rolling on 43s, stickies. So it's just point and shoot and stuff. But I'm like, holy hell, these trails are hard. And I'm like, I can't imagine going through these trails with 31s, 33s on a UTV, and then limited to 37s in the 4800 class.
In race mode, not crawl, not crawling, racing.
Right. And they're in race mode. You're blasting through these trails that we're just wreck wheeling through, going, okay, this is cool. So, but it is gnarly, and we got into some situations where there's some off camber, and that's what I was talking about earlier today with another driver. Is like, there's some serious off camber stuff on these hillsides and everything, just running between rock trails that the general public doesn't see or know about. And you're in that car, and a wreck wheeler would be scared shitless, basically, on this stuff, and you guys are blasting through that thing at 30, 40 miles an hour.
Yeah. Kind of the helmet visor goes down and common sense goes out the window.
Your wife's covering her ears right now, by the way.
Yeah. Yes. But, and that's another thing, like, you'll have guys going, well, my crawler can do this, can do that. These guys are pansies. I made it up backdoor. It's like, well...
No.
I kind of explain the Ultra 4 car to, like, in very vague terms, as the Swiss Army knife, right?
Exactly.
It's not so much a crawler, but it can do rocks. It's not so much a desert car, but it can do the desert.
Right.
So you combine those two, and you have a very capable car that can do everything. Both of those things. But we're not a low and slow. We don't have a 5.0 transfer case with, ridiculous gears.
43 stickies.
Yeah, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
We still got to be able to go 100 mile an hour across the desert.
Right.
And have those parts last.
The Swiss Army knife is a great analogy of the 4400 car, because that's exactly what they are. I mean, they don't do any one thing great, but they can do everything pretty freaking well.
And they're so cool.
Yeah.
And so, do we get into the IFS commentary or not on this thing? Because I know
let's take a quick break and check in with Miranda to see if there's any suggestions on names.
No web connection. Oh.
Yeah.
Wah, wah, wah.
And I doubt if you're listening to this podcast, you're going, what is King of the Hammers? Where is it?
Right. No.
But just to give you guys a little bit of a idea, we're in the middle of a lake bed, population 0, 350 days out of the year.
Right, until this week.
Then it turns into who knows how many thousands. Hammertown. So it's literally all man-made. So we have Wi-Fi servers and all that stuff, trying to do everything out here. It's pretty crazy. So, again, Google King of the Hammers if you have not.
That's right.
And next year when King of the Hammers is here, there will be no COVID BS.
Hopefully.
Cross your fingers.
Woo! Anyway, okay, I didn't want to interrupt, but I was hoping there would be some suggestions.
No Wi-Fi. I have to post it up later.
Yeah.
So talk about your 4400 car, and I mean, how it's evolved from when you started this race to where you are today, and you got some crazy technology in that car. I mean, it's one of the badass cars on the lake bed for sure. Clean
too. I love the interior. Super clean.
I take a lot of pride in cleanliness.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's OCD or just OCD. My wife's going to say it's OCD.
It's OCD.
But
I'm like that too. I get it.
I'm a guy that can never. I'm very grateful for what I have too, and so I try to keep it nice. I'm not one of those guys that just I've worked for it.
Sure.
So
yeah.
it's like
not just handed to you and okay, here you go, and you go beat it up and put it away.
Throw it away. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, so I try to keep everything nice and clean and well organized the best I can. Loretta was built in 2013 by Shannon Campbell,
right,
and everybody at the Campbell Enterprises.
Right.
Like Waylon Campbell has welded on the car. Himself, and he's one of my competitors. Shannon obviously did a lot of welding on it, but it was never one of their cars that they finished and raced. I talked to Shannon at SEMA show that year and said, "Hey, I want to build a car."
Sure.
And so they started building the car, and they built it for me, and what I wanted.
Cool.
And it's I don't know what to say about it. It's just a fantastic car. Every year we try to improve on it. We try to change technology. We're kind of rounding out the lifespan of that car. Like I kind of compare it to, say, dog years, right? Race car years to dog years, right? So 1 year is probably equivalent to 10 years on a race car for a chassis. And that car just doesn't race West Coast or race East Coast or, come out for King of the Hammers once a year.
Right.
It races every single
Short
one
course,
of
everything, yeah,
all of them. Every race Ultra 4's ever done in the past how many years it has done.
Wow.
So it has a lot of miles on it. I'd argue to say it probably has more miles than any car out there racing today on it. And I could be completely flawed in that comment, and somebody might look this up, but I would argue to say Mike Loretta has the most miles out of everybody. So
that's awesome.
Just you never want grass or underneath your feet on a car like that.
No.
You're gonna go to the back of the pack in a heartbeat. So, yeah, it's not the latest greatest car anymore, but it's still competitive.
Right.
I honestly believe my heart. Last year it was the car to beat. We had an unfortunate break, and I mean, as 99% of the racer stories go, but. I believe I was the fastest car, and that was that was the fastest car that day, and I was the fastest driver that day. But just
there's so
luck.
many things. A 10-cent part can take you out that you thoroughly go through everything, and you try to prevent all that stuff. But it's part of racing, unfortunately. Simple little thing. You prep, get everything dialed. You got the latest and greatest of everything. Every bolt's been checked. Every wire, but you get out there on race day and some stupid little thing can take you out, and that's unfortunate, but that's racing.
That is racing. That's, again, why they don't hand trophies out first.
Exactly. And and to see, there's got to be a lot of luck involved, right? It's just you're spinning that roulette wheel when you take off that start line. It's like, all right, we got everything prepped that we can do. We're ready. And Lady Luck, let's go, right?
Well, luck and strategy too, right? You have a plan. When you start at the starting line, take the flag. You have a plan, a strategy. How are you going to preserve the car?
There is a ton. These professional teams like you, have so much more. People think, oh, you just hop in a car and go race. You guys do a ton of planning on fuel, everything. How much can you get into that, Levi, about your strategy and pitting and stuff like that?
Racers, we've got to think on the fly all the time, and as teams, we got to think on the fly. There's a lot of adapting and overcoming in racing in general, and just off-road racing especially. You've got to kind of ride the wave. You got to roll with the punches, whatever you want to say there.
Right.
You've got to prepare for the worst,
and
definitely, and hope for the best. That's right. So every year they've changed, and this year they threw a new curveball at us that we cannot access pits on our third lap.
What?
Really?
So when we go out for our third lap, when we leave Maine, we cannot pit again till we come back in the cross for the finish line.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Wow.
So the way they have everything routed is no chances to pit. So when we go out on the third lap, you're there.
Oh, boy.
And how many miles is that lap?
It's not that many, actually. It's like 75 or something. So like, hopefully fuel's not an issue. Shouldn't be, but all the other parts will be.
I was
Yeah.
running Outer Limits yesterday, and I saw 4,400 third lap only. This turnoff of Outer Limits, and then of course you got this King's Graveyard dead blow thing that everybody's been talking about. I mean, do you run the car on those trails before you run? You pre-run some other car just to see? You walk in those trails? I mean, how do you prepare for that final lap per se? That's supposed to be the quote unquote killer of all these drivers here. So
and it will be like
Yeah.
right now. I'm saying King's Graveyard, Dead Blow, whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
I think the official name is Dead Blow because if you break in the trail, you get to name it.
yeah.
Guy, they called it King's Graveyard. Guy that ran it said no, it's Dead Blow, and now there's some confusion
Right.
of what it's actually called. But it's called Dead Blow, I believe.
Yes.
But we can refer to it as whatever.
Whatever,
But
yeah.
it is, honest to God, the hardest. I walked it.
Okay.
It is the hardest trail I've ever seen in my life.
Really?
It's, again, for an Ultra 4 car.
Yes.
It's tough. There will not be a straight body panel left on the car, period, or a straight tube for that matter. So Loretta's going to get some makeup put on the car, after this whole deal. She's going to get some body.
Little rock work by KOH Rocks.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean, Cody Wagner was driving up there with his gang of friends that all have their moon
Four-steer
buggies,
buggies.
four-wheel steer buggies, and they said it's tough in a moon buggy.
Yeah, and our cars are not moon buggies.
No,
right?
they're not moon buggies.
No,
That's right.
no rear steer. I thought about adding rear steer to Loretta this year, but
That
no.
would have been badass.
But no. So as far as pre-running go, so I have my Razor that I bring with me.
Okay.
Everywhere to all my races. So typically I try to drive that everywhere I can. So it ran up Outer Limits and Spooners and down all the hard rock trails that I possibly can run in. So typically I leave the race car parked and run the Razor. Although the very first day of pre-running, I blew up the front diff in that. So we've been down to one Razor, my buddy's Razor, and it doesn't have a winch on it. So we've been walking everything. So I've been walking King's Graveyard, Sledge, everything, and just trying to get a feel for it because I'm a firm believer that these race cars are a ticking time bomb. You literally, when you leave the start finish, you turn that hourglass upside down, and that sand's going to run out at some point. So each part has a life expectancy, and so so I try not to put any time on the car more than
than race
necessary.
time,
It works out great for some people. You can kind of maybe figure out some bugs and stuff, but not for me. I don't believe that. The car is old enough at this point, Loretta, that she's well tested.
Right.
She's well so we do shock tuning, but we try to keep running to a minimum. And that's just my strategy. You go look at Campbell's cars; they've ran down King's Graveyard and
Right.
everything like that. Power to them. I don't have
They
the
took the
manpower.
body panels off, though.
Yeah,
they stripped the body panels.
And you go look at their tubes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Are they all scraped out?
Oh my gosh,
That's great.
So, but it's pretty gnarly. So I try to reserve that, and the whole point to be running this UTV class as well as Layla in the Legends class, is pre-running. It's the whole goal. So whatever I miss during the during my actual pre-run, I get to make up during those races. And really dial it in there because, again, like we talked about earlier, there is a difference between trail riding, pre-running, and racing.
Yeah.
So lines change, stuff you bounce weird, whatever, it changes.
And you're going to get to see that trail. I mean, the majority of the trail, because obviously there's some that the 4,400 cars only run and stuff, but you're going to see a majority of the course 3 days in a row and know how it's evolving and adjust as you go.
So you have a co-driver in the UTV and in the 4800 Legends car.
Yep, both different guys.
Different guys. Okay.
Both different guys, which is tough.
Okay.
But I'm more worried about, I'm worried about those guys. It's going to be a long day of winching, and
Yeah.
but it's good. Both those guys, Corey Nasso is actually the owner of the side by side that I'm racing, and so he's co-driving with me, so he gets to see all the abuse that his car takes.
Okay, perfect.
Sorry, Corey.
Sorry, not sorry.
It's always great to break somebody else's junk.
Sorry,
not sorry.
A little bit of a backstory on this razor that's kind of funny. It's quote unquote the $100 razor because Corey entered a deal on Razor Life, which is a big forum on Facebook.
Okay.
A big raffle. He had some money left over in his PayPal, and so he just said, whatever, they can't track this stuff. $100. So he put $100 down on that razor from Razor Life, and we were sitting at supper one night. My wife and I happened to go being up there and visiting him, and this, before we had kids or anything, we could go do stuff like this.
It's not that bad having kids. Come on.
And we were sitting there at dinner table at a brewery, and he goes, "Oh my gosh!" Like, I thought he was saying, "I want a Turbo S." And I'm like, dude, we all want Turbo S's. This is when the Turbo S's were brand new. Like, dude, I'd love to have that too. He's like, no, I want it. I'm like, what do you mean you want it? He's like, dude, I entered a $100 raffle, and I just got a call that I won this razor just now. I'm like, what? And so, anyways, long story short, we were racing that razor, and so it's quote unquote the $100 razor. So it's like, he's like, dude, I want to race.
Don't care.
I want to race.
Don't care.
I don't care. But I know I'll never have the time to go do this. I want to go do this. So if you're serious about racing a razor, let's go race it. And Corey is so OCD, and he can't handle failure. He has probably spent more money on this car, on his razor, upgrading it, making sure it's ready to go. I mean, the best of the best components on that car. Making sure the failure will not be on his watch or on his dime. So I respect him and applaud him. And Corey, thank you for letting me do this.
Yeah, you get to drive the thing.
Yeah, I get to drive this and get it that much more. And he gets to get the experience as well. So I am beyond floored that he wants to do this. So.
Because last year was your first time in the UTV race, and you literally acquired that car like a week before KOH, right?
Yeah, it was the car that actually won the year prior. My buddy Rob Butler, from over in the UK. I know this might seem a little weird, but you could travel back in 2019.
Yeah, back in the day.
Early 2020, you could travel. And so he traveled over here and said, dude, I kind of want to race. So I'm like, all right, I'll make some calls. So I called my Yokohama teammates and stuff and asked them, like, hey, do you know any good cars for sale? He said, actually, the car that won it last year is for sale. I'm like, okay. So I called Mitch Guthrie and kind of arranged the whole deal with him and Rob. And, he FaceTimes me and I look all over at it. And it's like, Rob, this car's the car to buy. Like, it is set up perfect. So... Cool. They brought it out here like a couple days before we had raced. We put a wrap on it and changed out tires to Yokohama tires and went and ran it. And Rob Butler had never even, the driver of it, I co-drove for him. He had never even hardly driven a razor. And we went out and we placed like 20th or something like that. Okay. So it was pretty cool. I told myself then and there we're going to do it again.
You got to make this happen for next year, and here we are.
I've been wanting to set up a side-by-side deal because I love side-by-side so much. Definitely my passion outside of Loretta and Layla. I love side-by-sides. My wife and I use ours all the time throughout the summer, and so it's something I want to get my roots sank into on doing side-by-side racing, because ultimately it's becoming a very popular class. Because
that segment's huge.
It's a great entry into off-roading.
It is. I often look at that class as probably cheaper to get into than, say, going racing 4600, the stock class.
Sure.
So I've been wanting to get into it, but all my time and money has been going into the big cars.
Sure.
But that is a program that I kind of want to get started, essentially.
That's cool.
Yeah, right on.
So.
Yeah, no, it has been, I mean, you've seen it. too. I mean, the last 8-10 years of off-roading in general has just increased, and then with these side-by-sides coming on the market where you can go out and buy a very capable four-wheel drive vehicle to go out and recreate in all these places, here in California, I mean across the states. It's turnkey. You get a helmet, you strap in. Unfortunately, people don't realize how capable these cars are and do some crazy stuff, but it is amazing where these side-by-sides can go. We call them golf carts, but they still make it out there and do fine.
Well, I mean, up near where we live, the Hollister Hills SVRA is a popular place to go to.
Yeah.
And we go down there a few times a year to play in our Jeeps and whatnot, and my God, these things, little side-by-sides are zipping around the
They're
trails.
all over.
And they don't go slow. Slow is not a word they understand.
No.
So,
it's great because it's brought a lot of people into the sport that may have not ever been introduced into off-roading. I mean, a lot of different genres of people, and it's really cool. So, and Hollister is one of our crown jewels in the state park system here in California, and it's great that it's an hour from our house.
Exactly. So
I got to get into single seats. So you got Co-Dog on Thursday, Co-Dog on Friday, and then Saturday this year you're by yourself, as you have been in Loretta. So what, as a driver especially as tough as King of the Hammers is, and you got radio contact with your pits and stuff to kind of keep your mental game going or whatever, but what's it like being by yourself out there for miles on end over some ridiculous terrain?
I almost like it better.
Okay.
The single seat deal to me is I don't gotta, again, we just talked about co-drivers.
Right.
I don't have to worry about hurting anybody else in the event of an accident. So
exactly.
That's
brought up a lot. Yeah. It's like, you're out there and you're going to do some stuff and it's like, okay, if we roll over or something happens, it's me, it's all me. But yeah.
Literally we are pushing these cars to the limit. Like at all times. Like it used to be at a game of attrition, which it will be again this year. But it's ultimately a sprint. Like I said, these cars are so capable, but I don't like the mental game of that. Although this year, I will say, with all the rocks, I do wish I had a co-driver. I'm at a major disadvantage.
You think you're going to be winching some more, but you got the giggle pin winch, so you can do some quick winching.
Yep. I got the giggle pin winch on the front of that, and when we built the car, I said I want a real winch.
Yeah.
And so we put that on there, and it is pretty incredible. So I know I'll be doing some winching this year. But it's the whole get out, unstrap, pull your free spool, pull the cable, find a rock, climb back in, pull yourself forward, get off the rock, get up the this ledge, get back in the get back out of the car, unhook, get back in the car. So, man, we're burning precious time there when we're going. A lot of times the co-driver, when he gets back in, doesn't always get all the way buckled up.
Before you start moving.
Before I start moving again. And but I get 2 days of having somebody in the car for UTV as well as 4800. So it's almost a warm up of hey, don't go here, don't do this, don't do that.
Yeah, you got some definite insight.
Definitely. And just knowing, but just it's gonna be a long 3 days. It's already been a long couple weeks.
Sure.
So I told my co-driver, I said, if I ever want to race 3 classes again, I said, sock me. I was like, by far, dude, never let me do this again. This sounds like it's such a good idea, but I don't know why. Nothing worth having comes easy, but it has been a total uphill battle all week with all the cars.
Sure.
So,
I mean, just racing one class, but to do 3, and then you look at, what's his name, Cam Still, that races motocross and shit too, and gets beat out of them. I mean, I'm just like, holy smokes, my hat's off to these guys that,
I know, no doubt.
that go through all this punishment. I mean,
really
physically, mentally, it's huge. All right, so you got some more pre-running to do you're going to do this week, the rest of the week prior to, or where you at?
I mean, not really. I mean, other than as far as pre-running goes, I have I have the UTV race
Yeah.
and the 4,800 race. So that's going to be my pre-running.
So tomorrow's Wednesday. So
then-
that's just, you're going to just chill, do a little final prep, and then Thursday you get in the UTV and go.
Yeah, so tomorrow's plan, I got to qualify Loretta tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right. So Power Hour.
Power Hour.
Tomorrow at 4.
Yep. With Loretta. I don't know when I'm off the line exactly, just 15th off the line.
Okay.
So, yeah, so right in time for the sun to be right in your eyes. Man, and the course is way screwed up. Like, I'll gladly trade anybody that's starting first tomorrow morning when they have a perfectly groomed short course. That's when the fast times generally happen, is during that time.
Sure.
But yeah, so I have that going on. So I'm always scared to get too far away from Hammertown that day, because what if you miss your qualifying?
Oh, yeah.
It wouldn't have made much difference today in the 4,800 class qualifying because, well, I made it 2 jumps in and had some technical difficulties. And anyways, yeah.
Your car's sitting shockless right now, but yeah, it is what it is. And-
Yeah, we had a slight fire.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, had a pretty good flame.
Oh, yeah.
Oh boy.
And
Oil
so
was everywhere.
Yep. So anyways, yeah, we're going to be starting at the back of that race, which I love starting at the back.
I was gonna say you don't mind chasing it, right?
No,
I mean, it's almost what what do they say? Better to the chase it. I mean, there's some drivers that love to be in the back, and hey, I'm gonna catch up to the rabbit in the lead.
It's where I excel.
You love that.
I
Yeah.
love chasing. I hate that feeling of being up front. You know that scene in Pirates of the Caribbean? Like, we're going to do a Pirates of the Caribbean reference here.
Okay.
Where Johnny Depp is running away, and they have all these other dudes chasing him off an island, and this crew has the boat, and he's pushing him off, and he's running and getting chased. That's what it feels like to lead a 4,400 race. You're Johnny Depp and getting chased by all those other guys.
Boy.
I like to be the one doing the chasing. To me, that's fun. And ultimately, one thing you got to remember, too, is it is a timed race.
Right.
So
Correct.
qualifying is important. It is really important. But you got to remember,
You're racing on corrected
you're,
time.
You're racing the clock, not all those other guys.
Right.
So,
And it sounds like all the timing is going to be accurate this year, so we got that going for us.
woo woo.
I had to throw that in.
Yeah, so it's not going to be 2 weeks before we know the actual who won King of the Hammers.
Oh, well, yeah, we had to edit the podcast and do a retraction.
right.
It's like, oh, wait, you got that one wrong. Oh boy.
Well, it's good. It's just the sport's been evolving, and I mean, they're doing an incredible job, and especially this year of just even making this event happen. So, but it's great to see it evolve and get more professional. And one of the things that I hope never goes away is the camaraderie of this, all the racers, all the fans, how fan-friendly this sport is, where you can walk right into pits of the top drivers, any driver, and they welcome you with open arms, like, yeah, come on in, and they share, what's going on and everything. You guys as drivers are sharing setups and stuff, and it's like, no, we're going to beat you on the course. We're not, there's no quote-unquote, I mean, some people keep a little things under their hat, but overall, I mean, it's just so cool, the camaraderie of this sport, and how much this has evolved from. I mean, you look from the solid axle cars, you got an IFS car, the camel chassis, and all this stuff moving forward, and the Swiss Army knife, like you say. I mean, it is insane what the abuse the cars and drivers go through out there.
Yeah, and that's like one thing about the whole 4,400 class, and just all the classes, I should say, just Ultra 4 in general.
Yeah.
Is they are, man, it's just everybody's knowing nobody's getting rich off this.
Right.
There might be a few people getting rich off this. It's not me, I can tell you that much. But everybody's relatively blue-collar workers.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and knowing you're not going to get rich, people are here to help each other out. Like, you can walk up to me, I'll tell you, I run, 26 PSI in my tires.
Yeah.
Like you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I run. Like, and that is what has allowed the sport to progress like it has progressed.
No doubt.
The amount of technology from where we started out in 2008 or whatever
Yep.
to where we're at now is amazing. I don't think there's been a sport in the history of motorsports, as far as that goes, that has had that kind of progression. So it's been the unlimited factor of not putting rules on us,
Right.
and then everybody being so friendly and willing to share, it has caused our technology just to shoot up, skyrocket. So, which is awesome, which has directly related right back down to the consumer. I mean, you look at the Ford Bronco and how many how many athletes in, say, Ultra 4 have had their hands involved in that. Not been me, but like Brad Lovell, Jason Shear, all those guys have had their hand in creating this Bronco, which if there was no Ultra 4, I don't think there would be a Bronco. Like, I mean, I know you guys are going to say, like, oh, well, there's a CJ5, there's a CJ7. Yeah, but the technology we're at now with shock technology and wheel and tire technology has directly, and just the four-wheel drive and IFS technology has essentially because of Ultra 4. I mean, you look at trophy trucks, for instance. That big deal this year has been four-wheel drive trophy trucks.
Four-wheel drive trophy trucks.
Where do you think they've got the technology to,
Ultra 4.
Ultra 4.
Yeah.
Granted, those guys have taken a little bit of our technology and now, threw a ton of money at it. And now it's just amazing. Oh, yeah. But now, Ultra 4 is getting little dribbles of that, and like you're going to see portals and some of this other stuff that's kind of coming down the line that you're already seeing.
Oh, yeah.
Transfer into us. So, no doubt in my mind, like 5 years from now, Ultra 4s will begin to be some of the fastest things in the desert.
No doubt.
Even more so.
Well, the technology is always evolving, as you just said. And this year, you're going to see for the first time an electric race truck on the track, and that's badass. That's going to be exciting to see. I don't know. You've heard about it, obviously.
Yeah, exactly. I think it runs the Milwaukee M18 batteries.
But you probably
Milwaukee M18 batteries.
They got like 600 of them.
Yeah, 600 per.
Slap.
It's kind of a booger to charge, but they have quite a few generators over there.
They got 100 chargers in their pit. It's been we've been following that build, and that's been incredible, and so that'll be fun to watch them compete on Friday as well. But
where will that go? Is the gasoline powered or the internal combustion engine cars evolve? How will the electric race truck in Ultra 4 evolve? It's going to have to evolve.
Oh yeah,
it's coming.
It's kind of like the only thing I can see if we're going to get down this Ultra 4 electric Ultra 4 rabbit hole here. I'm all about it. But you're going to see some stuff that is kind of hard in our sport to manage with the electric. I'm all for it. I'm 110% supporter of it. But there's going to be some hurdles that you're going to have to cross to get there, like our steering. What are you going to do as far as that? You're going to have different pumps and this and that. So at one point in time, Ultra 4 had $1 million bounty. I kind of remember this. For the first electric vehicle, and this was probably 5-6 years ago, to finish King of the Hammers was $1 million.
Wow.
Oh, boy.
And don't quote me on that, but that was the conversation.
This you just
that Dave Cole.
This.
I know.
I'm gonna get some Milwaukee batteries and put it in my buggy.
$1 million.
Let's go. I gotta give this a shot.
But I think Dave Cole has quickly retracted that statement with the technology. With the EV technology.
Especially now that one's going to be out competing. Now they're limited 90-mile race or whatever if they can complete it.
Right. But it's bleeding edge, and this is just experimental, and we'll see what happens. And then,
there's no replacement for displacement, man. Hearing a combustion engine out there, like your car that's uncorked and sounds badass. It's a race car.
Yeah.
And then you got this electric vehicle going down. It's like, no, we need that sound. It's hard.
Well, they'll be
it's traditional. It's
Yeah.
traditionalism, and that's where I'm going to have a problem with it. I'm all for it too, but man, hearing those V8s just roaring out there is just incredible.
I remember going to Pikes Peak in 2012, and they had some electric vehicles racing then, or just one or two then. And they actually had to put sirens on them.
Yeah. So people
knew they were coming, or deer, or wildlife, or whatever. And so it was the weirdest thing having it roll by, going dee doo dee doo dee doo. My God, what is this?
This ain't right.
That's funny.
But no doubt in my mind that it is the future.
Yeah,
firmly believe that. It's going to be a minute, I think, before that kind of takes over.
Sure, we're just on the front edge of this thing, but
no doubt.
And I kind of feel like I'm going to be like the older generation when fuel injection first came out, and just
yeah.
like, gosh dang, I don't need that. I got my carburetor on here.
Right.
I don't need no fuel injection. That's the way I'm gonna be with this electric motor deal.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to be
No
like,
doubt about it.
I don't need that. I got internal combustion engine right here. Runs on avgas.
Fuel injected.
Yeah.
Oh, Grandpa. You're so
100
behind the
octane.
times.
Yeah.
That's
Exactly.
going to be me. And
I'm
so,
right there with you.
And so it's going to be a learning curve for us.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you look at Formula One, you look at some of these others. I mean, there's a electric vehicle series off-road that's coming this next year that like Sarah Price and Kyle LeDuc are racing all over the world. They're racing in different climates and different areas that, I mean, are not very friendly on, race cars where they get a race here because they're electric. So I think that's extremely badass.
Like look into that. I didn't know
it's Extreme E or something is what it's called.
Oh, that sounds about right.
Okay.
So I think it's Extreme E. It's awesome. They're all spec cars. You have some like Formula One drivers in there, and the U.S. obviously like being the mecca of off-road racing has Sarah Price. It's one male driver and one female driver.
Okay.
And they get to campaign cars all over the world racing in like Iceland and like all over and all the different places. So they're actually racing. Have you guys checked out this new Hummer, EV Hummer?
Yeah.
It looks amazing. I mean, like, and so they have like this whole Hummer EV front clip on there and stuff like that. But if you guys haven't, like anybody that's listening as well, have not checked out this Hummer EV thing, it is freaking cool. Like they're saying like 1,000 horse, and like you can press a button and it like raises up 6 inches and
4-wheel steer,
4-wheel crab walk, and so
and the instant torque of an electric motor is just that's hard to dispute, right?
Well, exactly, and just 0 to 60 is like 3 seconds or something.
Yeah.
Like Loretta's not going to do 0 to 60 in 3 seconds.
Have you driven a Tesla or anything? An S or anything?
No,
like that?
no. I live in
I'd love to
Kansas.
hear- Oh, you don't have Teslas out there?
No,
'Cause
we're
in the Bay Area. We got Teslas every other car.
Yeah,
we
pretty much.
got
They're all over the place. Yeah.
3/4 ton Dodges and Fords and stuff.
drive a Raptor. That's cool.
I do. Well, my wife drives a Raptor. She lets me wash it and fill it up with gas.
There you go.
I drive a '99 GMC.
Driving, and I've been fortunate. I grew up with cars and stuff, and my dad's friends, with Ferraris, Lambos, whatever. And then we've been in the street rod scene for a long time, and so horsepower has just been there. And driving a sports car, but getting into an electric car, Tesla S, and hitting that throttle, it is stupid. I mean, there's no sound, so that's just wrong. And then just the instant, on-demand torque, and your head's going back in that headrest. It's like, this ain't right, but it feels right. I love the acceleration. So anyways, I didn't know if you'd driven one of those just to feel that.
No, I never have had the opportunity. I have a buddy that has a Tesla, which is rare in Kansas anyways. That we just said. It is just, it's
How
really
many
weird.
charging stations are there in Kansas?
I know of on one hand in Dodge City, Kansas, there are 2.
Okay, there you go.
The distillery has one, which don't
that's
ask
a
me
good
why.
place.
It is like, we're going to park here and we're going to go up there and have a drink real quick. I don't know.
Need to charge our car while we're having a drink.
So there's one at Boot Hill
Wheeling
Distillery in
wine
Dodge
and
City.
whiskey.
Wheeling wine and whiskey. Exactly. Yeah. Triple W.
Yeah.
Triple W.
So, but kind of reverting back to this Hummer deal, and kind of what we were talking about other people, like there's a direct Ultra 4 racer by the name of Mike Colville that has directly, he was the guy in charge of that. So he has a lot of Ultra 4 influence in it, which is awesome. Which is awesome. So I can't wait to get my hands on one. I think it, like I said, it's the future. I really do. It's just, we're going to have to, we saw big old diesels hauling them to all the races and all that stuff going on.
Well, there's been promises. I mean, over the last few years, there's this Rivian, which I guess is owned by Ford now, and then you had Atlas, which was supposed to be they supposedly were going to release a 1-ton dually electric truck, which is kind of where we're all at. We want to have something that can haul a heavy load, but it's always, well, how far can it go when it's fully loaded down with a truck camper and a trailer towing a Jeep? So,
yeah.
Yeah, and that's just it. Like, I cannot wait, and I've been dreaming to put a Tesla, the Tesla semi front clip on a toter home. Oh, that's gonna look so good. That is gonna look so good.
Trucks, are badass.
That'd be cool. I mean, it's just a matter of time before all this is going to be out and about. So, anyway.
Well, man, we've covered the gamut here. This has been great. You got anything else, Levi, you want to share with us, or shout out some sponsors, or your wife for putting up with all your shenanigans here at KOH that's right beside you, pounding your arm right now?
Yeah. Actually, let's do something a little different.
Okay.
Miranda, do you want to kind of get interviewed for just a second and let me sit back?
Let's hop in there.
Because, I think that is such an interesting thing is you're going to have to add another W to your Wheeling Wine and Whiskey. It's going to be Wheeling Wine, Whiskey, and Women.
Yeah.
We've
Wives?
been
I don't know.
That. Wheeling Wine, Whiskey, and Women. Or the women of Ultra 4.
Women
so
of
here
Ultra
we go.
4.
So, I feel like there's a lot of questions that you guys, I kind of heard you guys going back and forth in the race car tent, like, hey, how do you do this? How do you do that? That's a good question. I mean, there's a lot of dudes that are like, I don't want to, but there's going to be some guys with their wives in the car listening to this podcast going like, yeah, honey, keep it on. So anyways, here is my wife, Miranda.
Uh-oh, put her on the spot. There you go.
You might regret this.
No,
I feel like you might regret this.
No, it's great.
Well, I mean, the first and foremost question is, what's it like living with an Ultra 4 race car driver?
Oh, man. It's just chaos. It's just chaotic and wild, and no day is the same. We'll just say that.
Because I mean, we know we've spoken with several other wives of car drivers, but Levi does races a lot. I mean, some of the other drivers, they might do 1 or 2 or 3 races a year, but so it's kind of like it's Ultra 4 season, or it's a King of Hammer season, and it's so they kind of ignore the wives,
this
if
is
you
a
will.
year-long season,
but
here.
it never really ends in your house, does it?
No,
I mean, it's always race prep.
It's always something, and not just races. It's this is our livelihood and our lifestyle in general. So we're always off-roading somewhere. If we're not racing, we're gonna go somewhere and do something. Or he's off with his buddies in New Mexico riding razors or whatever. So it's his passion, and it's easily become my passion too. So so yeah, it just kind of comes with the territory, and we love what we do. So it's just it's been great.
And it is family, and that was one of the things I was going to bring up earlier, talking about Ultra 4, the camaraderie and everything. I mean, every race team, damn near every race team on this lake bed has family with them.
Yes.
And it is a family sport.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's generations. I mean, you've got your dad here, Levi, and, it's just like, it's part of the operation.
And in 10 years, your son will be
and hopefully Dawson falls in your footsteps here and wants to race.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, I mean, it's just super cool. And yeah, a lot of other racing sports have this, but it just seems more cemented in with the family aspect of Ultra 4, I think.
And, honestly, we wouldn't be involved in it if it wasn't family-oriented, if it wasn't family-friendly.
Yeah.
We feel right at home where we are with these people. These people have easily become our family.
Sure,
our crews become our family. We have racer friends that every time we see them, it's like meeting old buddies all the time. And, I can honestly say I don't know any other sport out there, especially in the off-road industry. I don't know any other sport that is like that.
Right.
With the camaraderie, with the family friendly, with kids running around and riding dirt bikes and causing problems all the time around around the racetrack. But it's one of a kind, and it's just made it that much better to be a part of.
Well, and the other thing, I know following your Instagram post, food is a big thing, right? Everybody loves to eat, and you made a comment, I think it was yesterday or the day before, that you enjoy cooking for everybody, and I'm sure everybody enjoys eating your cooking. I mean, it's just part of the aspect, right? So that's super cool. Getting out here and getting to contribute to the team, per se, right?
Yeah.
Keeping everybody fed and happy. So
yeah, well, and I know we were talking about too how many logistics are involved in this race. It's just you only see you see things on social media, how glamorous it is and how incredible it is to have race cars around and all that, but you don't see the hard work that goes into it. You don't see all the logistics that go into it. So there's no sugarcoating it. It's hard work every single day, and not just for Levi, but just for everybody involved. It's run around late nights packing up the toter home. It's Dawson going to bed way past his bedtime, but he's there to see Dad because, he wants to see Dad before he leaves for 2 weeks and things like that. So,
well, and you're like me, you're like type A, you create lists, and I commented on one of your posts. I'm like, that's me. That's that. I have a list. Now, I'm not preparing a race car team, but I'm just preparing to come down to the Hammers to make sure I got all my clothes and
you don't want to forget
food
anything
and alcohol.
Well, and I can honestly say I will not claim to be the most organized person, but in this sport, especially at this race, you have got to be on your best game, your A game.
Your A game.
Sure.
Because I cannot afford to be the reason that Levi fails at something. Like I cannot even I already feel guilty enough if I forget something. There have been hundreds of times that at races I have forgot something so silly and I just have felt so guilty about it, but I've gotten so much better at it. I'm by no means perfect, and I would say I'm probably still considered a newbie in this. I would say I have learned so much from Levi's mom, and I definitely look up to her because she is the most organized person I know, and she has always been so supportive and provides everything for the guys, and so I've really looked up to her in that sense, and she's really taught me a lot. So I'm really grateful to have had somebody to at least provide me the stepping stones to be successful and support these guys in the best way possible. So.
Did you have any off-roading prior to meeting Levi and obviously getting married? Were you involved in off-roading in any way, shape, or form, or is this completely new to you?
Not really. Definitely not at this level that he's at. So my brother used to race dirt bikes. In fact, he still kind of does, and so I've been just a little taste of that, but it's nothing compared to what this is. And so Levi's shaking his head at me right now. Well, and I rode at 4th of July, we have what's called the Peckerhead race, and I've raced it a couple times on a 4-wheeler.
Okay.
And so I've done a few things, I've had a taste of it, but never, like I said, never the level that. But involved, definitely.
So obviously you're thrust into this lifestyle through meeting Levi and getting married, and now it's awesome for you.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I'm always grateful for the life that we get to have. I mean, it's, I am very well aware that we are very fortunate, very blessed, and I definitely don't take that for granted. It's just so awesome to see Levi be able to do what he loves, and just that feeling of knowing what he's capable of.
Cool.
That is worth it to me.
Yeah.
Always,
Right on.
And it's the marriage thing. It's all compromise and everything. And he needs his shop time. He talks about just going out, and he loves to get his shop time and work on the rig. And it's all give and take. But that's so great. I mean, that's what makes a great team between you two. Is supporting each other. And the coming together for this KOH, and then extended family, friends, and all that stuff to make this thing happen. I mean, it really is incredible when you stand back and look at this thing at 30,000 foot elevation of, okay, yeah, we're racing, but what does it take to get there? The level that you're racing at, you're not just racing in one race, you're racing in 3 separate freaking races, and it's just super cool. And again, I go back to the camaraderie and everything, and just to have at the level that you are, one of the top racers in Ultra 4, and to invite us in and spend some time with us, and welcome us with open arms. I'm super appreciative. It's just cool. It's just a testament to what this Ultra 4 family is all about, and appreciate it, man. This is super cool.
Yeah, yes. Thank you very much for giving us your time. I mean, this is crunch time for you, and for you to take this, what's been an hour and a half. I mean, it's been incredible, and I know you probably
you guys are easy to talk to.
Well, yeah, we're non-scripted and have fun, and we go down rabbit holes, and that's what it's all about. But yeah, Miranda, you got anything else you want to share?
Well, I don't think so. Just hoping the rest of this week goes smoothly. That's the main thing.
Yes, fingers crossed.
We've had some bumps in the road, but that's how racing
Part
goes.
Of racing.
And just like little things like this help. So we really appreciate you guys taking the time with us, because this is a nice breath of fresh air from the stress that we've had this week.
Awesome.
And so I'll let Levi say his.
So cool.
Yeah. Again, thank you guys so much. My beautiful wife here touched on everything that I wanted to touch on. But it is just so awesome to have everybody out here helping. Again, super volunteer effort. We aren't making a killing doing this. I don't think very many people are.
Right.
Except for maybe the guy collecting the check for everybody coming in the gate here.
Right.
That guy's making money.
But he laid a lot out on the line this year.
So much out on the line. And I sent that guy an email in December saying thank you.
No doubt.
Most people would lay down. Thank you.
No. There was so many reasons to not have this event.
Exactly.
This year.
Again,
and we're here on the lake bed making it happen.
Exactly. So to be able to sit right here with you guys, and what had been such a crazy year. People like to rag on the year, but it's been a long one. It
has.
Think about the positives, though. I mean, families got to come together and spend a lot more quality time together. People weren't running off in 10 different directions, going to different after-school activities or whatever. I mean, I joked with Miranda earlier today. It's like, leave the house, just leave the house for my family. But it's actually been great to spend time with everybody, with less distractions.
Exactly. And it's been such a great kind of restructuring, almost like setting the reset button.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. And going like, okay, what is important in my life? And, we've all kind of like took a step back and like, holy crap, our entire lives we've been taking all of this stuff for granted, like just like having King of the Hammers. Sure. We didn't realize how fortunate we are to have this. So people are coming into this event going like, this is so awesome. Like we can kind of do this again. Like we've had a year of being cooped up, what it felt like, but
you appreciated it before, but now you really appreciate it.
Follow the rules and don't screw it up.
Yeah. I mean, like in California, as restricted as we have, I mean, there was points where, and I love to camp. I mean, we just go out and camp up in the Sierras and stuff. And there was points where we legally couldn't go out and camp. And I'm like, no, this does not compute.
They wanted us to sit in our homes and just stare at the wall.
And I'm like, no. So again, this is along those lines that we have those same feelings. It's like just so appreciative. I mean, I've always been appreciative of everything, but it really underscores what we are allowed to do here in the United States.
Absolutely. And, not to drag this, thing out. I could talk for hours and hours and hours, but I come from racing in the UK and in Europe in general. I got to see firsthand on some of those other countries, which again they took me in with open arms, and I am so appreciative. But they don't have near this. Like they have, old rock quarries and stuff that they've got to recreate on.
Right.
They look at us, through a freaking telescope, magnifying glass, whatever you want to say, and just like in awe that we have all this free land that we get to go use. So to be able to have this is amazing. So
no doubt. And unfortunately our friends across the pond and all that stuff out of the United States can't even be here if they wanted to because everything's shut down, right?
Yep, exactly. So,
and I know you have a lot of friends that would normally be here that aren't.
Yep. And so again, it's like we said in racing, you kind of got to roll with the punches, and not having their support this year's missed. But you got to ride the wave and roll with the punches, and kind of deal with it. So again, talk about things that you didn't realize and how much you appreciated until they were gone. That's one of them is going, holy crap, like you guys did all this for me?
Yeah.
Like that's awesome. So again, just like having King of the Hammers, we're lucky to be here.
Ton of volunteer hours and everything else. I
Oh,
mean,
boy.
people do it because of the love of the sport, love of racing. Nothing like the smell of burning alcohol in the morning of a V8 engine, you know?
Baby in the desert.
Hey, thank you guys so much once again. You want to give a shout out to anybody, any sponsors or anything, or any other than your wife that's sitting next to you that supports you through all this?
People know, people who follow me,
Right.
know my sponsors and know who supports me. I'm very appreciative of those companies that
Sure.
have came on board over the past couple years, and we're in this business to formulate long-lasting relationships with those companies. But it's mainly my hats off right now to the people that I can never repay, and that's the people that are here sacrificing their vacation, their time off, their family time potentially to be here, camping in the desert in the middle of Johnson Valley, helping me fulfill my dream.
Inventions, yeah.
Exactly. And so my hat's off to those people helping me just everybody that is just like my mom staying home to watch my son. Again, she's not here, but she's helping. I mean,
That's right.
you can't repay those debts.
No, not at all.
So, and same with Miranda's parents as well. But my hat's off to every one of those people.
And it's cool because, and a lot of I don't know how many people realize in Ultra 4 and stuff, but watching you, we were hanging out inside the tent there. You guys were doing some last minute stuff on the car. And I mean, you're not one of those, I don't know, I hate to stereotype a NASCAR driver or something. You don't just step out with your helmet and stuff and drop it. I mean, you had your race suit on, down, and working on the car. You're in there wrenching on your own car. Everybody else is in there working together. You're not one of these prima donna guys that are just like, okay, we need this XYZ, blah, blah, blah. It's all a team effort. And all these people are just the passion. The passion is there. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
right?
and I'm a firm believer in you got to lead by example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You lose a lot of respect. I don't know how many bosses we've all had that like, you do this, and then he goes and sits in his office or whatever. Like,
Right.
I'm not one of those guys or whatever. And I don't consider
Very hands-on.
I don't consider myself a boss either. I consider myself a peer.
Uh-huh.
We all are a part of this team. We all just have different jobs.
Yeah.
I have to touch on all those jobs in order to be proficient at having to help people do, help me essentially. So I do a little bit of everything, but I'm definitely not a prima donna driver at all.
No.
I work at it.
Absolutely. It's super cool.
All right. Well, Levi, Miranda, thank you again for inviting us
guys,
in
man.
here.
This has been awesome.
Best of luck.
I may
Thank you.
set up my cot in the corner and hang out in
Right.
that camp the rest of this race week.
Yeah, come on.
It's pretty comfy in this tent.
So best of luck in your races. I
Yeah,
know it's
absolutely.
hot and heavy
All
starting
3
Thursday.
races coming up here. We're definitely going to be rooting you on here, cheering you from the stands, and love it. Love what you got going on. Love the passion and love your operation. So thank you guys so much. Truly appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you guys for allowing this to happen.
Cool.
Right on.
All right. And there it is. Levi Shirley, Miranda jumped in there. Just great
We
interview
covered so
again.
much material. It was
There was.
awesome.
And again, like I say, it's unscripted. And I just like to hear stories. I love to tell stories. And they got a great story.
They do, and it's going to continue.
That whole Levi Shirley team, the Lucky Dog Racing team that's evolved to this today with his dad starting all this, and look at where he is today. So super freaking cool. The Gymkhana, I'm glad we got down that rabbit trail of him out on the golf course, because you and I both were you're still in the golf industry. I was in the golf industry, but it was when the little hints were coming out of that whole thing, and then the whole video dropped, and he's out there, and then he's swinging a golf club with a helmet on. I don't even like to play golf with sunglasses on, so that was great to hear that story. Getting into the his thoughts on the whole how the course is set up this year, and this more rock trails, harder, going up the harder trails instead of down, going this new
back door. They went up back door.
Yeah, went up back door, up jack.
They went.
I mean, there was some trails that you don't even want to walk. More or less, go up or down.
They went up outer limits and down Spooners, right?
Yep.
And then of course down King's Graveyard.
Yep. It was. Yeah. And I pre-ran, like I said before, the outer limits and Spooners. I mean, those are two very difficult trails. And then Jack's even harder, ran that. I mean, holy smokes, I walked King's Graveyard.
Right.
And I'm sitting there trying to pick lines, for me with 43s. And it's just, you just got to send it. Just got to send it.
Just got to send it.
But
you hear that, Larry?
It is so cool. Great interview. Always great talking with Levi and his crew there. And again, I'm humbled by, and that's how cool, this hobby sport is.
Oh yeah.
Is, we're just a couple guys talking into a microphone with this podcast, and to watch the support that a little bit of support we've gotten here and there, and in the big scheme of things, and getting to sit down and talk to these big players in the game.
Hell yeah.
We got to talk to Shearer and Bailey and now Levi in person at KOH. Hello. Who are we?
He's legit. He's a legitimately nice guy.
They're all good.
You hear
people.
about the story. I mean, looking at this is all post race that we're talking doing this chat. You and I here at the home studio, and hearing from Lauren Healy about the I was broken down. I thought I was done, and here comes Levi. He's like, hey, I got a spare drive line.
Throw
man.
a drive shaft. Will fit. Go. Here you go.
Boom.
And it worked.
And I think there was another competitor that might have lost a tire, and Levi was like, you need a spare? Take my spare. I don't think Levi rolled into Hammertown when he
with any spare parts.
he didn't have a
like
spare
the Napa. He was like the rolling Napa out there, just giving away parts. I love it.
But that's trail karma, dude.
Well,
he's getting karma.
Absolutely. And it is KOH and these stories that continue to roll out about KOH is just, I love it. I just freaking love it. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this episode.
Yeah, I did.
I mean, again, I still wish I was out on the lake bed. I still wish everybody was back out there. Can we do this for a month next year? Maybe?
We'd have to have wine brought in.
Okay.
And bourbon.
We can, there's helicopters. We can fly stuff in.
Well, maybe our
We
sponsors.
know people.
I don't know.
We'll
yeah,
see.
I'm down.
There's a mailing address out there at Hammertown. Hey, hell, it's on Google Maps. I mean,
That's
you
right.
type in KOH, it's going to take you right there.
Exactly.
So, Boone Road.
The UPS should be able to find it.
You know how excited we were to get onto Boone Road and get our COVID deal done and all that shit?
Well, you didn't have to shove a stick
I didn't
up your
have
nose.
to. But, and then driving out of Boone Road, and I'm sitting there at 5 a.m. I was like 5:15 on Sunday morning, and I'm like, Goddamn Boone Road. Here we are.
Well, I drove Boone Road 4 days before that, and I was like, I'm sitting there Wednesday morning. I'm like, why am I leaving?
Because and then the party was just getting ready to start. I mean, the main party.
I know.
It was party started a week before, but the main party was just getting ready to start.
I did a fair amount of partying. Don't get me wrong.
No, you did.
But
I was glad you were there for the time that you were.
Well, 2022, I'm going to be there the whole damn week again.
You should be there for 2 weeks with Jack. I'm just saying.
Well,
I think he's going to set. I think he's already got in his mind how he's going to set up our camp next year.
Oh boy!
But anyways, great time once again, and another great interview. It was. We had a blast interviewing Levi. We interviewed him early on the podcast too.
Yeah, we did.
I just reached out and I'm like, hey, would you mind being on a podcast? So we phoned a friend and he was in, and then
talked about stinky beavers.
Yeah, and then to actually get to interview him live, and sit down with him and his wife Miranda there for
we talked to her for quite a bit too.
Yeah, I mean, just again, super cool people.
Yep.
There's many stories like this of KOH. We're just happy to tell it, and I mean, just class freaking act from start to finish. with that Levi Shirley team, 81 out there. I love it. So
can't say it enough. Super appreciative that you let us into your camp. Thank you very much. Hopefully
we get invited back.
Exactly, right?
Anyways,
so
hey, great time. I hope the listeners are enjoying all this content. We're trying. We give till it hurts here on the Wheeling Wine and Whiskey podcast. And Chris, how do they get a hold of us?
Oh, that's super easy. You can go to our website at wheelingwineandwhiskey.com. And at that location, you can catch all of our episodes, which are, I think this is episode 92.
Yep, 92.
92. So we're marching slowly but surely towards episode 100.
What are we doing for 100? We got to figure that out.
We got to figure that out.
Okay, all right.
In the meantime, you can also email Jason or Chris at wheelingwineandwhiskey.com. If you feel like contacting Lorenzo, which is he's absent, Lorenzo at wheelingwineandwhiskey.com. You can also catch us on the gram. What's the gram?
Just Wheeling Wine and Whiskey, straight up. Just look for us, on the gram. I'll respond to you there. I'm getting caught up on the gram. Holy smokes.
Perfect.
There's so much content.
I'm telling you, man. What did you take, like 500 pictures?
It's a full-time job. But, yeah, and then Patreon, if you want to check that out, go on to wheelingwineandwhiskey.com. You can go to Patreon /Wheeling Wine and Whiskey.
That's right.
If you want to throw some bucks at us, that would be mucho apreciado.
Don't forget about the giveaway.
And then we got the E50 giveaway.
Time's a ticking.
There's two, not one, but two E50 Element fire extinguishers, and I saw a lot of them on race cars.
I did too. Healy had them in his car.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. And Kevin Jones had one.
Course,
I mean, there was numerous racers with an E50, so they're allowed as one of your 3 fire suppression
correct.
Systems on your car.
Rule change for 2021.
Exactly. So that's cool. So you can win 2 of them by going back to our post. Yeah, and then Jason Hussman, Hustle Nuts, made us this killer heavy-duty mount, and he gave us 2 to give away on this giveaway. So you're going to get 2 Element fire extinguishers. You're going to get 2 Hustle Nuts fabrication mounts.
Absolutely.
I don't know if that's the name of his company, but I'm going to call it Hustle Nuts Fabrication. It's got a good ring to it. You need to LLC that there, Jason. Anyways, check that out. Go to that post on IG.
I just registered that domain. He has to buy it from me.
Perfect. There you go. We're just trying to cover costs here at Wheeling Wine and Whiskey. We gave out so much free shit at this event. I'm like, oh my God, I don't know what we're doing right now.
We're going bankrupt.
Yeah, it's crazy. But fun times, well worth it. Go to that post, tag 3 friends, follow Wheeling Wine and Whiskey, follow Element, official Element fire extinguisher, and you're entered into the contest that we will pull a name after the month of February ends here.
That's right. Time's a ticking.
And
Get
we
in
will
there.
announce it on the first podcast of March 2021. I can't believe we're talking about March 2021 right now. But anyways, thank you for listening. And Chris, you got anything else?
I do not.
All
so
right.
that means we're out.